Good afternoon, my dear students. Generally, I have seen that the children are confused with prepositions. They think that it is so easy, but actually, it is not so. In preposition, there are so many things that you have to take care of. So, I am going to explain it again what is preposition. If we see the sentence, there is a cow in the field. Here, in shows the relation between cow and field. If we see the sentence, he is fond of tea. So, here the relation between the attribute expressed by the adjective fond and tea is done by the word of. So, this is also showing the relation between the attribute expressed by the adjective fond. Okay. And then if we see the sentence, the cat jumped off the chair. So in this the word of shows OFF. It shows the relation between the action expressed by the verb jumped and the chair. So we can see that the words in, of and of are here used as prepositions. So we come to the definition that preposition is a word placed before a noun or a pronoun to show in what relation the person or thing denoted by it stands in regard to something else. And preposition stands for that which is placed before. If we break it, if we analyze this word preposition, so it is the combination of pre and position. So pre means before, placed before, that which is placed before, that is called preposition. So we in the sentences we have already seen that the preposition joins a noun to another noun. It can join a noun to an adjective. Just now I read these three sentences. So in those sentences we have seen that preposition joins noun to another noun, and it joins a noun to an adjective, and it joins a noun to a verb. And the noun or pronoun which is used with a preposition is called its object. And always it is in the accusative case, and it is said to be governed by the preposition. So we can see that the noun field is in the accusative case, and it is governed by in. And sometimes a preposition may have two or more objects, like the road runs over hill and plain. A preposition is generally placed before its object, but sometimes it can follow it also, like here is the watch that you asked for. So here that is the preposition. Then that is the boy whom I was speaking of. No, that is the conjunction over here. Here is the watch that you asked for. Here that is the conjunction, and for is the preposition. That is the boy I was speaking of. So of is here preposition, and it has come here after the object. Then what are you looking at? Here also at, after the verb. What are you thinking of? Then of, after the verb. Which of these chairs did you sit on? So here of and on. So of these chairs and did you sit on? On comes in the end. So when the object is the relative pronoun, that as in sentence 1, the preposition is always placed at the end. And the preposition is often placed at the end when the object is an interrogative pronoun, as we have seen. What are you looking at? What are you thinking of? So in interrogative pronoun, it is usually placed in the end, or a relative pronoun. Like that is the boy I was speaking of. So in this relative pronoun also, the preposition has come in the end. Sometimes the prepositions are omitted, like preposition for, from, in, on. They are often omitted before nouns of place or time, like we did it last week. I cannot walk a yard. Wait a minute. We see that in this type of sentence, I cannot walk a yard. Wait a minute. We cannot say wait for a minute. I cannot walk in a yard. We cannot say. That is wrong. Wait a minute. Wait for a minute is wrong. I cannot walk in a yard is wrong. I cannot walk a yard. Then we did it Here we can say we did in it or on it, that is all wrong. We did for it, we did from it, it is all wrong. We did it. We did it last week. On last week, we did it on last week is wrong. We did it last week. For last week, we will not use any preposition, so it is omitted before noun of place or time. Then preposition may be arranged like we can say that there are some simple prepositions, some compound prepositions, and some phrase prepositions. Simple prepositions, you can say that they are add, by, for, from, in, of, or double f, then on, out, through, till, to, up, with, preposition of place, time. And then compound preposition, it is formed by prefixing a preposition to a noun, an adjective or an adverb, like about. So about, a plus bout, above, a plus bow. So here usually a is equal to no and b means by. So b example you can say across. Across is also that, a plus cross. Along, a plus long. Amidst, midst means middle, so a plus middle. Among, then amongst, and then around, then before, b plus for, for. Behind, just as four legs, hind legs are there, so before, behind, b plus hind. Then b plus low, below. B plus neath, b plus side, beside. B plus tween, between. Tween here stands for two. Then beyond, yond means there, b plus yond, beyond. Then inside, in plus side. Outside, out plus side. If we break it, if we analyze it, we will see what does it mean. Underneath, under plus neath. Within, with plus in. Without, with plus out. Coming to the group of words which are used with the force of a single preposition, it is phrase preposition, like according to, in accordance with, in place of, agreeably to, in addition to, in reference to, along with, in behalf of, on behalf of. Both are correct. In regard to, away from, in case of, in spite of, because of, in comparison to, instead of, by dint of, in compliance with, in the event of, by means of, in consequence of, on account of, by reason of, in course of, owing to, by virtue of, in favor of, with a view to, by way of, in front of, with an eye to, comfortably to, in lieu of, with reference to, for the sake of, in order to, with regard to. So these are the words which go together along with that, with the words which I have read. So you must listen it 3-4 times so that you can understand which word goes, which preposition goes with which word. Coming to the sentences which are made by these, so we can see that I'm going to read some sentences, you can hear that. He succeeded by dint of perseverance and sheer hard work. In case of need, please call me. By virtue of the power vested in me, I hereby order. In consequence of his illness, he could not finish the work on time. Owing to his ill health, he retired from business. With reference to your letter of date, we regret we cannot allow any further rebate. In order to avoid litigation, he accepted rupees 30,000 in full settlement of his claim for rupees 42,000. In course of time, saw his mistake. He died fighting on behalf of his country. On behalf of the staff, he read the address. He persevered in spite of difficulties. In the event of his dying without an issue, his nephew would inherit the whole property. Instead of talking, prove your worth by doing something. By reason of his perverse attitude, he estranged the best friends. He acted or her action according to my instructions. Her actions were according to my instructions. He acted according to my instructions. Why don't you go along with your brother in accordance with your instructions? We have remitted the amount to your bankers. There's a big tree in front of his house. Agreeably to the terms of settlement, we herewith enclose our check for rupees 1000. By way of introduction, he made some pertinent remarks. By means of rope ladders, they scaled the wall. For the sake of their beliefs, the Puritans immigrated to America. In course of his researches, he met with many difficulties. Then he abdicated the throne in favor of his eldest son. He could not attend school because of his father's serious illness. He accepted the car in lieu of his claim for rupees 3,25,000. With a view to an amicable settlement, we offer you without prejudice rupees 7,500 in full settlement of your claims up to date. On account of his negligence, the company suffered a heavy loss. Whatever he does with an eye to the main chance. Now, some words like barring, concerning, considering, during, notwithstanding, pending, regarding, respecting, touching, and like some words like this, similar words like this, which are present participle forms. These are present participle forms of verbs. They are used absolutely without a noun or pronoun, and for all practical purposes, they have become preposition. They are sometimes distinguished as participle preposition. They seem to be verb, but in fact they are not the verb, they are preposition. Like barring accident, the mail will arrive tomorrow. So here barring means accepting, apart from. Then concerning yesterday's fire. So here concerning about is understood. Concerning yesterday's fire, there are many rumors in the bazaar. Then considering, that is concerning. So concerning means about, concerning about. We will not say about, but we will say concerning yesterday's fire, there are many rumors in the bazaar. And then considering the quality, the price is not enough. Here considering means taking into account. So considering the quality, the price is not high. Ulysses is said to have invented the game of chess during the siege of Troy. And notwithstanding, here notwithstanding means in spite of. Notwithstanding the resistance offered by him, he was arrested by the police. Then pending further orders, Mr. Desai will act as headmaster. Regarding your inquiries, we regret to say that at present we are not interested in imitation silk. Respecting the plan you mentioned, I shall write to you hereafter. Touching with regard to this matter. Touching this matter, I have not as yet made up my mind. So several words are sometimes used as adverb and sometimes as preposition. We can see, if we see the sentence, go and run about. So here about is doing the work of adverb because it is adding something to the meaning of run which is verb. And if we say the same about in this way, like don't loiter about the street. So here about will do the work of preposition. I could not come before. Here before is adverb. I came the day before yesterday. Here before is preposition. Has he come in? Here in is adverb. Is he in his room? Here in is preposition. The wheel came off OFF, that is adverb. The driver jumped off OFF the car. The driver jumped off the car, that is preposition OFF. Let us move on. Here on is adverb. The book lies on the table. Here on is preposition. His father arrived soon after. Here after is adverb. After a month he returned. Here after is preposition. Take this parcel over to the post office. So here over is adverb. He rules over a vast empire. So here over is preposition. I have not seen him since. Here since is adverb. And I have not slept since yesterday. Here since is preposition. Now sometimes relations are expressed by preposition. So here I am going to read some of the most common relations which are indicated by preposition, like went about the world, ran across the road, leaned against a wall, fell among thieves, quarreled among themselves at death's door, sit on deck, stood before the door, stood behind the curtain, lies below the surface, sat beside me, lies between Mumbai and Alibag, stand by me, rain comes from the clouds, in the sky, fell into a ditch, lies near his heart, Kolkata is on the Hooghly, the cliff hangs over the sea, toured round the world, marched through the town, came to the end of the road, put pen to paper, travelled towards Nasik, lay under the table, climbed up the ladder, lies upon the table within the house. If we see the time, so after his death, at an early date, arrived before me, arrived behind time, by 3 o'clock, during the whole day, for many years, from 1st April, in the afternoon, sat watching her far into the night, then lived under the Mughals on Monday, pending his return, since yesterday, lasted through the night, throughout the year, wait till tomorrow, 10 minutes to 12, towards evening, until his arrival, rise with the sun within a month. For agent or instrumentality, we can say like goods sale at auction, send the parcel by post, was stunned by a blow, was destroyed by fire, heard this through a friend, cut it with a knife. For manner, dying by inches, fought with courage, worked with earnestness, worked with eagerness, won with ease. For cause, reason, and purpose, labored for the good of humanity, died of fever, the very place for a picnic, did it for our good, suffers from gout, died from fatigue, does it from perversity, retreated through fear of an ambush, concealed it through shame, lost his purse through negligence, shivers with fear, took medicine for cold. And for possession, there was no money on him, the mosque of Omar, a man of means, the boy with red hair. Then for measure standard rate and value, we can say as he charges interest at 9%. Stories like these must be taken at what they are worth. Then cloth is sold by the yard. I am taller than you by 2 inches. It was won by the tower clock. Then for concession or contrast, like after, here after can stand for in spite of, notwithstanding. After every effort one may fall, for one enemy he has 100 friends. For here stands for in spite of, so for all his wealth he is not content. With here stands for in spite of, or with all his faults I admire him. For motive, source, or origin, we can say like from what I know of him, I hesitate to trust him. The knights were brave from gallantry of spirit. He did it from gratitude. Light emanates from the sun. From labor, health. From health, contentment springs. This is a quotation from Milton. His skill comes from practice. Then we can use in or at with the names of cities, towns, or villages. In most cases, in is used when we are talking about a place, large place, and at is used for small place. Like we stayed in Mumbai, metropolitan city, Mumbai, for 5 days. Our plane stopped at Mumbai on the way to Iran. So here Mumbai is the Mumbai airport, so it will be at Mumbai. How long have you lived in this village? Here for the village also in can be used because that is an area. We are seeing it as a point. And we use at to talk about group activities and shop, workplaces. Did you see Shobha at the party? There weren't many people at the meeting. I saw him at the baker's. Then we use in with the names of streets and at when we give the house number. He lives in Church Street. He lives at 45 Church Street. We use on when we think of a place as a place like a surface. So the dog is lying on the floor. Put this picture on the wall. Till is used of time and to is used of place. He slept till 8 o'clock. He walked to the end of the street. With often denotes the instrument and by is used for the agent. Like he killed 2 birds with 1 shot. He was stabbed by a lunatic with a dagger. In since is used before a noun or phrase denoting some point of time and is preceded by a verb in the perfect tense, like I have eaten nothing since yesterday, he has been ill since Monday last, I have not been smoking since last week. In is used before a noun denoting a period of time, means at the end of. Within means before the end of. Like I shall return in an hour, I shall return within an hour. Beside means at or by the side of, while besides means in addition to. Beside the ungathered rice he lay, besides his children there were present his nephews and nieces. Besides being fined, he was sentenced to a term of imprisonment. Now coming to means of transport. We use by plus noun when we talk about means of transport. We do not use the or a or an before the noun. Like we travelled by train, not by the train or by a train. We travelled by train, we say by bicycle, by car, by taxi, by bus, by train, by boat, by ship, by plane, by air, by sea. We do not use by with when the reference is to a specific bicycle, car, train, etc. Like Suresh went there on my bike. We travelled in Mr. Joshi's car. They came in a taxi. I'll go on the 7:30 bus. We use on to mean a specific bicycle, bus, train, ship or plane, and in to mean a specific car, taxi, van, lorry or ambulance. We say on foot and not by foot. He goes to the office on foot, means he walks to the office. Now some words followed by prepositions. Certain verbs, nouns, adjectives and participles are always followed by particular prepositions. If we read the following sentences, you see the appropriate prepositions. I am reading the sentences. Mumbai is famous for, you see famous for. Then the goat, famous for its textiles. Then the goat subsist on, the coarsest of food, subsist on. With subsist we use on. Fond of children, teeming with natural wealth. Then apprised of our approach, came out to meet their minister. Then the ideal life of the Brahmin, divided into 4 stages. Wish for distinction, natural in every man, endowed with gifts, fitted to win eminence. Then enamored of the subject, cheap enough to be accessible to most people, conduce to ultimate happiness, affable to his neighbors, liable to abuse, match for the giant, confined to Central Africa, adapted to life in the desert, ignorant of life and manners, derived from the ownership of land, famous for their learning and skill, profited by the decisions, then impossible to diligence and skill, indebted to you for your help, tolerant of competing creeds, then contemporary of Pushyamitra Sangh, adapts itself to the carver's art. Then poetry is remarkable for the perfection of its execution. Tree is associated with scenes of goodwill and rejoicing. Prevented me from sleeping. Acquainted with the latest developments of the situation. Acquainted with. His duties were of a kind ill suited to his ardent and daring character. Man is entirely different from other animals. Residence of 8 years. Had inured his system to the tropical climate. Born in a warm climate. Seemed to have been much addicted to the bottle. Then susceptibility to flattery. Then connives at the faults of his children. Then destitute of what are now perhaps its chief attractions. Then in the East, judged by its result, no cure for malaria was due to poisonous exhalations. Then people who are adverse to hard work. I hope you have understood what are preposition and the words